Hi global students, welcome to your new video on the Byzantine Empire. I'm filming it right in your very classroom, so you could pretend you're just sitting in a desk in class and I'm lecturing you on our new unit. So here we go. Behind me you'll see a map of the Roman Empire. We studied the Roman Empire last unit, but it's going to lead us into the Byzantine Empire. If you remember, the Roman Empire was enormous. It covered land on 3 different continents: Africa, Europe, and Asia. Now, while it sounds cool to have a really big empire, there were also some detriments or some negatives, disadvantages that came along with it. And part of that was trying to protect it and defend it and govern it. And for those reasons, Rome is going to eventually collapse. Because the empire is so large, it's difficult for Rome, in the capital here, to send troops and their military to any point in the empire that needed assistance. If they were being attacked over here, they had to send troops over here. And that took a really long time. They had a really excellent military. It wasn't very modern the way militaries are today, with airplanes and speedboats and drones. So it became very difficult to protect this empire, and they were being invaded on all sides by a group called the barbarians, or Germanic tribes. This is a depiction of what the barbarians, or the Germanic tribes, would have looked like. And you can see here in this map, this is kind of just a zoomed in version of the Roman Empire. All of these different colors are a different Germanic tribe. All of these different arrows are showing you where the Roman Empire was attacked by these Germanic tribes. It didn't all happen at once, but it happened with enough frequency that Rome was going to become very weak, the empire itself, and not able to defend itself very well. Rome was also experiencing economic difficulties too. The people who lived there weren't able to make ends meet. More people were living in poverty. So for these reasons, the Roman Empire eventually is going to collapse and fall apart. There will be no more Roman Empire. We also know that there's corruption in the Roman government too. If you remember looking at that document where we had a list of many different emperors, and they were all assassinated or poisoned or died in battle, that's a sign of severe corruption, and we know it was happening in Rome. That's another reason why the empire is going to collapse. Now, this is a picture of one of the last and most important rulers of the Roman Empire. His name is Diocletian. Emperor Diocletian sees all of these bad, negative things happening to the Roman Empire. He sees that it's going to fall apart if they don't try something new. So he comes up with an idea. Diocletian decides he's going to try splitting the empire into 2 halves. So instead of trying to govern, protect, and control one whole giant empire, he'll make 2 smaller empires. 2 emperors, 2 different governments, 2 smaller empires. So what we have is, in red, will become known as the Western Roman Empire, and in purple, the Eastern Roman Empire. This is the one we're going to study this unit. The purple half becomes known as the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire is going to do really well. It won't just survive because of Diocletian's decision. It's going to thrive. It's going to become an amazing culture all on its own, self-sustaining. The Byzantine Empire is unified. It has great connections for trade and for their economy, therefore. But the Western Empire is not going to fare as well. The Western Empire ends up dividing into little mini kingdoms ruled by kings, and they fight each other constantly. This constant warfare leads to instability, and this part of the empire will eventually collapse. At its height, the Byzantine Empire will also have land on Africa, Europe, and Asia. You'll see that as the Western Empire collapsed, the Eastern Empire is able to absorb parts of that empire into itself. So it kind of expands over time. And this is what it looks like at its peak. This arrow is pointing to a very important city. It's called Constantinople. Constantinople is the capital city of the Byzantine Empire, and for good reason. Constantinople is situated kind of at a gateway between the Black Sea and the Aegean Sea, which is connected to the Mediterranean Sea. This city is very easy to get to by boat. There will be lots of traveling and trade happening through the city of Constantinople. The Byzantine Empire reaches its most powerful point under the rule of an emperor here named Justinian. He actually co-rules with his wife, the Empress Theodora. They kind of rule together. This is a mosaic that was put together in the Byzantine Empire at the time. But what I think is cool is this picture that shows us with modern technology what we think Justinian and Theodora probably looked like based on the artistic mosaic that we have. Pretty handsome. Justinian is a kind of ruler that we call an autocrat. An autocrat is a ruler that has total, complete, absolute power. Justinian had control over every aspect of his empire. He didn't have people who were slightly less powerful than him working with him. All of the power belonged to Justinian. We call that a centralized government when all of the power is in the hands of one person. So like I said, Justinian had control over every aspect of life of the people living in the Byzantine Empire. That included their government, their politics, and their religion too. One of the ways he controlled his society was by creating a list of laws. This became known as the Justinian Code, or Justinian's Law. Actually, Justinian didn't just come up with all of these laws in his own head. Justinian studied and had his scholars study the laws of Rome in the Roman Empire. So Justinian went through, decided which laws were good, what needed to be edited, and what needed to be thrown out, and what was left became known as the Justinian Code. So he was inspired and took a lot of influence for his laws from classical Rome. Along with the Justinian Code, Justinian is also famous for church building. During his time as emperor, many churches were constructed at his behest. Here are a few examples that are still standing today. You can see what a Byzantine church looks like. So this type of architecture we would consider an achievement of the Byzantine Empire. Now, the biggest, most beautiful, most famous church that Justinian had constructed, you can still visit today in the city of Constantinople. This is a picture of the church called the Hagia Sophia. That translates to the Church of Holy Wisdom. Now, although it started off as a Christian church, you can see here's a picture of the interior of the Hagia Sophia today. You'll see elements of Christian art. Here we have the Virgin Mary and Jesus. Those are Christian symbols. You'll also see Arabic and elements of Islamic artwork within this church today. And that's because it's not a church. Over time, the Hagia Sophia would change hands. Different groups of people would control it. So while the Byzantine Empire, which was a Christian empire, controlled it at one point, eventually Muslims are going to take control of Constantinople and take over the Hagia Sophia and turn it into a mosque, because Muslims practice Islam and their church is called a mosque. You can actually see the history of the Hagia Sophia today, the ancient artwork and slightly more modern Arabic writing or Islamic influence. Today you can visit the Hagia Sophia as a museum. Pretty impressive. Another contribution or achievement of the Byzantine Empire was their ability to preserve and save the texts and the important culture of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. As the Western Empire was collapsing, they didn't save any of the ancient important texts. And they weren't thinking about preserving architecture or artwork from ancient Greece and ancient Rome. They were just focused on survival. So in the Eastern Empire, in the Byzantine Empire, they made great efforts to preserve the culture of ancient Greece and Rome, and then to teach it to their future generations. People would come to Constantinople and the Byzantine Empire to study. And they were studying texts from ancient Greece and ancient Rome and all of those achievements that were made hundreds of years before. So if you found our ancient Greece and Rome unit very interesting, you can thank the Byzantines. Thanks, Byzantines. Not only did the Roman Empire split into an eastern and a western half, the religion of Christianity actually splits in half as well. Catholicism was the form of Christianity that began in the Roman Empire. But over time, because of cultural differences, a split, or what we call a schism, is going to happen within the religion of Christianity. In the eastern half, in the Byzantine Empire, the type of Christianity that's going to form becomes known as Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Although there are many similarities, they're both Christianity, they both believe in Jesus, they both read the Bible as their holy text. There are two different leaders. In the Catholic Church, the Pope is the leader, and the Pope has control over kings and emperors. The Pope is kind of at the very top of a social hierarchy in Catholicism. In Eastern Orthodoxy, their leader is called the Patriarch. What's different about the Patriarch is that he does not see himself as the authority over kings and emperors. He's seen as below the king or the emperor. But he's still a very important part of the society because he leads the Orthodox Church. In a Catholic church, if you go to hear a priest, they're going to speak in Latin. Here, the Patriarch or the priests or bishops are going to speak in Greek. One last point I want to talk about with regard to the Byzantine Empire is how important the Byzantine Empire was in influencing the culture of what will become Russia today. Right where I'm pointing here in modern day Turkey, that's where Constantinople is. That was the capital of the Byzantine Empire. It's pretty close to what modern day Russia is, to where modern day Russia is today. It's connected by the Black Sea and a river. The city of Kiev was important to Russia at the time. It was like their capital city. So Kiev and Constantinople, very easy access to each other. There's going to be a lot of trade and business that happens, a trading of cultures and cultural diffusion that happens between Constantinople and Kiev in Russia. One of the biggest pieces of culture that's going to be traded between Russia and the Byzantine Empire is the religion, Eastern Orthodoxy, that we just talked about. Just like in Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy also had missionaries. A missionary is a person who feels it's their mission to spread their religion to people who live in other areas. So, Eastern Orthodox missionaries would travel to other parts of the world, including Russia, and teach people about Jesus and the Bible and the Eastern Orthodox religion. And the goal of a missionary is to try and convert people, meaning to try and convince them to become a Christian themselves. One of the biggest influences that these missionaries had on Russia was actually creating their alphabet. The people in Russia spoke many different kinds of what we call Slavic languages, but they did not have one alphabet to represent that spoken language. A few missionaries, including one named Cyril, he studied those verbal languages, all the different kinds of Slavic languages, and came up with an alphabet, a written alphabet, to fit the sounds that were produced in that language. This alphabet becomes known as the Cyrillic alphabet, after the man who invented it. Once they had the Cyrillic alphabet, it was simple to translate the Bible, the holy text of Christianity, from Greek into the Cyrillic alphabet, or what would become the Russian language. So now people in Russia could be influenced by Eastern Orthodoxy, could read the Bible, and actually even some kings in Russia become converted to Eastern Orthodoxy. That's all I got for you guys. Make sure you fill out the Google form with the answers to those questions about this video. Thanks for watching.